Thank you, Dr. Basalira. A very good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. We are always happy to see you joining us every Thursday morning to learn how to become a better entrepreneur. I also want to thank our speakers who make time to come and share their journeys from where we draw important lessons that also allow us to go and do things better in our businesses. This morning, we are very excited to be talking about how playing by the rules makes you unbeatable. So for many of us, as we run our businesses, the conventional wisdom is, excuse me, to move very fast and break things when clients come, when partners come, and want certain things. You want to break the rules so that you can get them what they want. And most of the times, we think that when you're structured, when you comply, when you follow the rules, then that is an obstacle for you. Um, for some people, rules are slow. They are slow. They don't allow you to move faster. But talking to our speaker sometime this week, the thing is that when you're not organized, when you don't follow the rules, later on becomes expensive. Why must you why must you follow the rules? Because when you comply, you create stability. You're very, very predictable, and that way you can attract investors, you can attract partners. Even your clients will know that they'll see you as a reliable entity. And then also, when you follow the rules, you are eliminating risk, because every corner you cut in your business, you are sitting on a potential time bomb tomorrow. So when you play by the rules, it means that you are de-risking your growth, and that way you're not going to be able to make mistakes. So in this session, we expect to hear from our speaker how following the rules has made her win. And so our speaker this morning is Miss Winnie Bagonza. She's a mother, she's a grandmother, and she's an educator since 1991. So she has been there. And she's a proprietor and director of Wind Chimes Kindergarten and British School of Kampala. You're very welcome, Miss Bagonza. We have waited to hear from you for some time. And I would like to thank Dr. Shakira Naguja, who created the contact. Thank you so much. You now have time to make your presentation. You have 40 minutes, and thereafter, we shall have a Q&A session. Over to you, Ms. Bagonza.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. So I think I'll tackle it from the angle of policy and procedure. I don't know whether I should just dive straight in or a small introduction, or
A
is that
small introduction about you, who you are, where have you been? What is your journey? We want to know that before we go into that. Yeah, thank you.
Okay? So originally in hotels, I worked in a hotel, Sheraton Kampala Hotel. Later moved, after I had children, I changed profession. I moved to education, but also relocated. My first place of education was my home with my children. Then later, I started up what now is known as Rainbow International School. We started off with a German lady called Anka Alemayo, later moved to the place where it is right now. And when it was taken over by the Kotechas, that was the end of my journey with Rainbow. I then went for further education in the UK, where I was for 7 years. Came back and started my own. It started as a kindergarten, Wind Chimes Kindergarten and Daycare Centre. After a few years of Wind Chimes Kindergarten, let me be precise, after 5 years of Wind Chimes Kindergarten, that's 2005 is when I started the kindergarten. In 2010, there was an eminent need for the kind of education I was doing, which was international education, even at a higher level. So I moved, in 2011, I started to organize for the start of a primary school, which is now known as British School of Kampala. So 2012, September, we opened British School of Kampala, primary section. 2013, we opened the secondary section. We also do subsidiary diplomas, and entrepreneurship is one of the subsidiary diplomas we do, but that's at O level. I guess that's my education journey. I don't know if my academic journey is of importance, but okay. My first qualification was in food science and nutrition. I then went on to do education, but that's after teaching for 9 years. So I did, first I did early years, progressed to diploma in childcare and education, progressed to a degree in education, majored in maths and physics. Then I worked with special needs, basically because there was a big demand in the UK and it was a better paying job. After that, I decided to come back home and I started my own. I hope that's a good enough explanation of my who I am, background.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much, Ms. Bagonza.
Okay. So when I started the journey of business, it came from a rejection of a job, by the way. I was rejected for a job opportunity, which I had very happily come back to. I decided instead of going back, let me start my own. So when I was setting up the kindergarten, I worked with two amazing ladies, Susan Kajura and Ruth Sevagereka. And they helped me understand business because really I did not think I have a business mind. As they were setting up with me the policies and procedures of the school, the first thing was the calendar, which was totally different from the Ugandan calendar. So school starts in September and the Ugandan calendar starts in February. And that was my first obstacle. The parents wanting the school calendar to be exactly the same as my host country. But the curriculum I was doing was the British curriculum. So I had to make a choice to either remain with the curriculum with the curriculum that supports my business or with the curriculum that does not. I, of course, chose, hopefully wisely. I lost a few clients because they didn't like that our holidays were different. A lot of obstacles, but every time you change a goalpost, you'll change it again. So I said, I'll stick to this and go with the people who understand what it is that I'm offering. Some businesses cannot really be tailored to the client, and education is one of them. Yes, you can tailor it to the client to a certain degree, but not to a point of changing your whole calendar, because the exams given by Pearson are given at a certain time. And at that time, some schools, the Ugandan schools are on holiday, so there's no way I would run that successfully if I had adhered to my clients or some of them. It has been one of my success stories following policy and procedure. It's very difficult to understand where someone's vision is unless you're walking in that vision. Everybody that is a potential client comes with beautiful ideas. And much as I'm saying it's okay to be adaptable. Adaptability is sometimes good. And change is also not too bad. However, not too far away from your goals. Never waver too far away from your goals. That has been my driving force. Policies and procedures help in setting smooth operations, and help with clockwork. For example, with my staff, I know that at a point in time, I'm a teacher, so when I don't have feedback, I feel like I'm getting lost, but I will carry on. If the team does not know what direction to take, because the leader does not have a direction to share, then you've lost it already. So for the team to know what to do, you have to have policies and procedures that they can follow and not waver from. For example, we have duties. When the children go out to play, we have duties. This is for the primary, even for the secondary school. Their duties. If a teacher is not there for duty and there's an accident, there's a gap there. Now, how do I explain to my client what happened to the child if one of the team players was not available? So that policy I had to change, and I gave the power to the teachers because I felt we were doing a lot of chasing the staff to do their duty. Now, how I changed that is I made the staff in charge of duty. So every week, one of the members of staff is the head of duty, and they will then follow up with their colleagues on how best to run the duty. And that way I felt it's less challenging. So that, yes, is a change, but a change towards the same goal. Then for smooth operations, there are times you need to refer. If you have nothing to refer to, then you're totally lost. We all think differently. But if you have a reference point where everybody sort of goes to and has something that they can fall back to, because it's a business. And in business, if the client is demanding, for example, extra homework, we have a homework policy where we say, no, this is the homework, this is the timetable. So the client also gets to know exactly what is happening within the running of the operations. And not always do they fall in line, because they'll always come back and say too much homework, too little homework, too much screen time, too little screen time, because we also do online learning. But as the educator, we have tried it out and seen that these children can do this amount of work and can do this amount of screen time. So we always have to come back, but with policy. Experience, some children will do more, some children will do less. But when you have a policy, and this is the policy, the stakeholders do fall in line. Also, when the stakeholders know the expectations, it's easier. As soon as they come in, we have what we call a welcome pack, which we hand over to the parent. That welcome pack has a number of policies. I don't know if I can remember them offhand, but we have the school fees policy, which basically tells you how the fees, what our expectation is, when you should pay, and if you can't, what you should do. We have the pick up and drop off policy, where you have to let us know which person is picking or dropping your child. We have a child's, we call it a child's guidebook, where we have all the rules for the school written down, and the parent and child read them together, sign, and agree. So if ever anything comes back, for instance, we have a no bullying policy. So if a child bullies or physically fights in school, the handbook, the student handbook, guides us on how to handle. Basically, it's a suspension or an expulsion, depending on the gravity. Of course, parents will come back, oh, but the other child did, oh, but yes, it's okay that they each, sort of whacked each other. However, the policy says suspension, whether you started it or didn't start it. That's what the policy says. And that has saved us a lot, because, we have many Gambanogu parents who, have their own expectations and their own policies of how things are run. But we're very strict on how we follow rules. We have a parent's handbook, we have a staff handbook. So once all those are in place, the rest is clockwork. It also helps reduce errors. If you have nothing to go back to, you're bound to work from a previous encounter. But if you have your policies written down, it reduces errors. You know what exactly to do. It boosts efficiency. We don't have to keep stopping to recreate the wheel. The wheel is running because we know that this is what is supposed to be done. It also enhances productivity in that when instead of always stopping to see or to firefight, you have guidelines that help you and you just follow them. Hence, productivity, enhancing productivity. Now, having said that, much as we do have policies and procedures and we do follow them, we always audit and update. For instance, during COVID, there was no physical school. Obviously, we had to update the policies according to the pandemic rules and regulation. Even when we came back, playtime was staggered. There were different things that had to change. Now, a regular review of the policy is also very important in my view. You have to revise and refine things according to where you're at or the conditions you're in. For instance, elections coming up, there's a calendar written. We will wait for the government to give us a go-ahead. If they do say that on the day of elections, schools are closed, obviously we will revise and close. So auditing policies helps gap analysis. Sometimes you have your policies in place, but then gaps come up. Riots, rains, nature, or whatever, there will be gaps. It could even be the caliber of students you have at the time or the caliber of client you have at the time. Sometimes it's okay to sit, rethink. So we, every 2 years, revise our policies. This helps to monitor and evaluate the relevance of these policies. Growth as well. The bigger you become, the more you have to have stringent policies that can accommodate the size and the vastness of your client and your stakeholder. Then also stakeholder feedback is a very important push towards how we redesign or revisit our policies. How? Sometimes you have policies, for example, pick and drop in the morning. If a parent is late, the policy is call beforehand. Don't call at 10 past the time and tell me I'm running late. No, you run late 10 minutes ago. Sometimes parents are in a meeting and cannot send or cannot call the teacher. So we had to revise that policy by putting in WhatsApp groups where parents can actually send messages to the teacher, not to the group, otherwise the group will be an overload. Send messages to a teacher on WhatsApp to say, this is what's going on, I'm in a meeting, I can't stop. However, I will be 20 minutes late as the meeting is running late. So there we accommodate the stakeholder because we don't live in a bubble. We understand that, things happen. And then as well, when we have revised, we communicate the change. to everybody using the different platforms. We have email, we have WhatsApp groups, and of course the physical send a letter home. So we communicate the changes so that everybody is aware of the changes that are happening. Then as well, training and support. It's easy to think that everybody understands what you're talking about until you realize that you're talking to yourself, like I feel right now. However, with continuous training and support, all stakeholders are aware. And by training, we actually do call the client in as well and let them know and give them a chance to air their views. And we pick out what we feel is, contentious, and we deal with that. Continuous improvement. Life is not stagnant. It's continuously moving. And in my day when we were studying, we never had these little gadgets. You had to turn pages. You didn't have Google to go and find, but we can't keep living there. So the computer has taken over quite a lot. So we do a lot of training and improvements by following the growth pattern around us. By the growth pattern, I mean, in exams, especially with secondary school, plagiarism, how do we curb that? AI and, assignments being brought back, done by AI. Just continuously trying to evolve as fast as, or nearly as fast as, the world is evolving. But especially with this in education, what I learned then does not make sense today completely. So we more or less teach for the century ahead of us, not the century behind us. So continuous improvement means trying to see the dynamics of where the world is going and trying to run with the trend in that way. So much as we'll say, for example, 3 aspects of our homework are done online. That is maths, English, and computing, obviously. Those are done online. Now, getting parents on board, that is, it's easier for them to allow their children to play games. I hope I don't have a parent on here, but I think I do. Anyway, it's easier for them to allow children to play games endlessly on a phone than to log on to do a 15 to half an hour learning. Trying to get the parents to understand that computing is the way we are going. You can't keep saying, we're stuck to the books, we did homework in the books. No, move along swiftly. The world has changed. Log on. Let the children learn. And the children are quite savvy. Some of them actually teach me what to do with the computer. I learned screen sharing from a student during COVID. So just being aware of changes. I call it progression, not perfection. It doesn't have to be perfect, but as long as you're putting one foot in front of the other every time, all the time, I think progression, not perfection. To ensure relevance, to remain effective, and to align with goals, it is important to actually be adaptable through planned change. Don't wake up one day and say, okay, the world is going this way, let's change. That's where I think the title of today is How Playing by the Rules Makes You Unbeatable. We all have our personal natures. Personally, I'm very empathetic. If a parent comes to me and tells me they don't have fees, I'll say, "Oh, okay." But then you see, this is what the policy says. So that protects my empathy, I'll say, okay, this is what the policy says. There's a school fees policy. How best do you? So my nature, my character is covered by the rules. So, oh, I've been waiting for a place in your school for this period of time. How do I get in? Please help me. You're my sister. Oh, thank you, my brother. This is the policy. The policy is, and I do not break that policy. It doesn't matter whether I created the school or, it doesn't matter. What matters is the school is bigger than me. And for as long as I understand that my business is bigger than me, I will make sure the business can run itself. As well, continuity. I'm very young, but obviously advancing in age. If I'm not there, the school will still run because there are rules that govern it. And those rules are not Winnie. Those rules are British School of Kampala or Winchimes Kindergarten. When I learned that very, very quickly in the beginning of my journey, I spared myself a lot of agony because we know so many people. I come from a very big family. And everybody has somebody, oh, is that your sister? Please tell her to get us a place in the school. And then you're sitting at a dining table, family meeting, and the siblings are accosting you with, why aren't you giving people spaces? I don't have the spaces. The policy is we only take 20 to 24 students in a class. If the class is full, I will not take more. No. I'll buy my own desk and chair. No, then the rules protect me. I don't have to, try and make myself look good, or the policies protect me. I feel like I'm lecturing. I prefer interaction, but I will soldier on. One of the things that I felt was a big hiccup for me was people trying to understand who you are and trying to put you down by not acknowledging what you know and what you've put in place. It's not me as a person. This is teamwork. So if the team has sat down and come up with something beautiful, one individual cannot break that beauty with egocentrism or ownership. This is something that's built from a lot of sitting, a lot of planning. You butt heads, talk about different ideas, talk about, there's a lot, when you sit and have your regular, because we have regular meetings as well, you sit and have your regular meetings. If you then go and change something without having sat in a meeting, you negate the whole beauty of being protected by these rules that have been created by a team, because they're not created by one human being. It's a team. Even in the beginning, when I was starting, it was two friends that sat down with me and told me, look, this is it, this is it, this is it. Now, as life goes on, you start to see changes. For example, when COVID came, we had these parents who paid fees beautifully. And then, of course, COVID took some of the breadwinners. What do? How do we support these families? It's not in a policy, but then we now take it on as a policy of how to support without breaking the bank, because obviously these are people that have been, your clientele. You're not just going to throw them away. One of the things that was said was business startups. When I think it was Mr. Patrick Taban who said that caught my attention. Starting is easy. It's running it consistently, and how you run it consistently and stably and in a, not on a plateau, but with growth in mind. It won't grow in a day, but it will grow. And what I've found is growth does not rely on one person as a human being. Even if you're an entrepreneur who works by yourself, there's so many things. There's the laws that govern us, employment laws that govern us, always have something to fall back to, always have something that you can hold on to and say, as I'm starting this business, this is where my goals are, this is my intention, this is where I intend to go. Now, the journey might not be as straight as you plan it to be, but that's where the beautiful business clinics come in. I won't tell you that, oh, it was a beautiful beginning. No, I started up with 4 children. 2 of them were my friends, that same friend who helped me, Susan Kajura. 2 of them were hers. Now, if a friend trusts you, that's something different. If a stranger trusts you, that's okay, because they don't really know your background. They just see you by what you've done. When you're starting up a business, you have to have, obviously, a vision. I'm not going to go into the business planning. I'm just going to stick to the policies and procedure. This is me trying to talk to myself, by the way. When I started, I wanted a small number. The business became lucrative, really lucrative. I have waiting lists the same size as a class. So change had to happen. I will remain relevant by having the small numbers, but change has to happen. How do I accommodate more children without overcrowding? So we double streamed with the even smaller numbers, because first it was 24 students in a class, now it's 20. So with the double streaming, I've accommodated more, but I've still remained with the same vision of small numbers in a classroom. So the teacher actually handles just a small number of students. And to borrow a saying, the first thing is to believe in yourself. You're halfway there. As well, don't just sit and watch the clock. Do what the clock does. Keep moving. I think this was, I don't know who said that, but I keep using that. Keep moving. Keep moving. You will find setbacks. There'll be setbacks. There's no business that has, if there's a business that has setbacks, I need to know that business. That doesn't have setbacks, I need to know that business so I can change. No, I joke. But just keep moving, one step in front of another. You fall, you get up, you keep moving. And with those very few words, I don't know if I have used up my 40 minutes. I have covered everything I had intended to cover for this morning.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, Miss Winnie, thank you very much. Would like to, this is Dr. Edith, your host. I'd like to appreciate you so much, Miss Winnie Bagonza, for taking us through the session of how playing by the rules makes you unbeatable. You've really been able to take us through how you started and how it progressed. You started in the hotel, but you later crossed over to education and you had to go and do some further studies. But when you returned, you had to start your own. We appreciate your story and how you've emphasized the issue of policy and going by the rules, the way it can help you be able to progress. Because we've noted in your presentation that teams need to have direction. And direction is given by the policy, guided by the policy. You need policy to follow. If there is no leader, then you need to be able to check and consult the policy guidelines. You've also indicated that you have policy for different clients. You have policy for staff, policy for clients, which keep guiding the way you progress. You also have handbooks that guide on the policy. We've picked a lot. You've also indicated that policy helps to enhance productivity. Policy helps to reduce errors. Policy helps to boost efficiency, among many other benefits. It is also important to have policy reviews, especially if there are some gaps. You need to have policy reviews to be able, and you should be able to communicate the change in policy to all stakeholders that are concerned. Without repeating whatever you said, that is a summary, but I would like to open up so that people can be able to interact further with you and maybe ask some more questions. I'd like to invite Ms. Sarah Mirembe Rukakamwa to guide in the Q&A.
Thank you so much, Dr. Basalira. Good morning, everyone on the call. My name is Sarah Mirembe Lukakama. I'm happy to be here with you. Thank you so much, Miss Winnie, for the insightful session. It was really good, and I believe some of us have picked a leaf from it. Ladies and gentlemen on the call, it's time for Q&A. Please feel free to raise your electronic hand and ask, or you send a question in the Q&A or a chat. From the chat, we have Hope saying amazing, amazing, and amazing. You have completely nailed it on the head. Thank you, Winnie, for sharing your enriched knowledge and experience with many learning lessons. From a youthful, quiet, shy, and reserved Winnie to a mature, unbeatable speaker, you have made us proud. Thank you. Thank you, Hope, for that. And then from Betty, thanks for sharing the great insights. And then we have a question from Monica. When do you read just the rules? Winnie, can you please respond to that?
Sure. If it's not working, then you have to revisit. I think I said it somewhere, adaptability. If you feel the rules are constraining or for whatever reason they're not working, then regroup and then realign. There's no particular timeline, but there's many different things that will show you that this is actually not working, how best. But what I would say is don't digress too far from your original plan. I hope that answers that question. There is no timeline. It's played by the ear, in my view. Okay. Although for policies, I think it's good to revisit all your policies every maybe 2 years. That's what I do, but that works for me. But depending on your business, just keep revisiting them and see if they're still relevant. I hope that answers.
Okay, thank you, Winnie. I'll take like 2 questions again and then respond. From Kasuja, thanks, madam, for the good insights of international education curriculum. Actually, it's the thing for about like 15 years. I've also observed that we need our children to get employment and have a good standard way of living, which is a bit hard in the Uganda environment. Yet as parents, we have invested a lot in these international curriculums at the universities abroad, but getting employment here becomes hard. What's your comment on this trend? And then another question, what are some of the challenges you faced in the journey and how do you overcome them? Winnie?
I'll start with employment. We wait for the children to complete the academic journey before we expose them to employment. Start in your house, really. If you start with your 3-year-old trying to make their bed or trying to shower themselves, keyword is trying. I'm not saying that it will be perfect. Then they have started the work journey, the employment journey. It's not paid, and do not pay for house chores, please. Expose your children to work environments. There are very many, I have discovered, work environments where, because we actually take our children in year 9, which is about 14 to 15 years, into work environment. They go for a week and experience the work environment. Now, the books, maths is maths. National or international, maths is maths. English is English. There are some subjects that don't change. You will never change the periodic table in chemistry, nor will you change physics, all the laws and that have been studied and shared. Those ones cannot change. However, what you expose your child to, and this is where I say parents are the first educators of their children. Take your children at an early age to go and see what a work environment looks like, so they realign their brains to what the ethics of work is. Yes, taking them to the UK and the US and all those universities is a beautiful thing. However, sometimes the courses that you're taking them out there to do are not worth taking them out there for. So that expense is not worth taking a child. Take them to experience, if you can afford it, take them to experience the place, not the education. You can get the education anywhere. Exposing them to work early saves you, because we can only teach what we know. I teach maths. If you gave me an English lesson, trust me, it's very easy, but it's not for me. Sitting and telling children about, I don't know, it's just very, very confusing for me. I learned it, I have knowledge of it, but I'm not proficient. So trying to get your child to be a certain way all by yourself is the first mistake we make. Children in the UK start delivering newspapers at 9. You'll say in Uganda, we don't deliver newspapers. Find something equivalent. There are obstacles, there are solutions. The solution might not be the one you want. Let it be anything that your child can safely encounter and get experience without being in danger. Don't send your children to door to door unless you're certain of your neighborhood. And having said that, actually, I have a child who goes door to door in their locality in Namgongo, selling soap that they learned how to make at school. Expose them to skills. That's what grows the brain. It's not the education per se. It's what you're exposed to beyond. It's the hidden curriculum, the real world, the life skills that actually grow your child. I hope I haven't confused you even more. Have I answered that? Madame Sarah Mirembe.
Thank you so much, Miss Winnie, for again able
What was the second question?
The second question?
One was employment after education.
Okay. What are some of the challenges you faced in the journey and how did you overcome them?
I think my first challenge, which for me was a challenge, it might not be to most, as Hope beautifully put it, I was a very shy and reserved lady, was finding the confidence to deal with the uncertainty of the people around me and making sure that it does not affect me. By that I mean, I know my where, I know my trade, I know what I'm doing. But convincing the people around me, which is the clients, that I actually know what I'm doing, that was a very big thing. So continuity and, again, procedure, just doing exactly what I'm supposed to do when I'm supposed to do, got people to see me differently or to stop seeing me at all. But it did help me grow, and it also did help the business grow. Then secondly, acknowledging. I acknowledge that I don't know how to handle finances, and I got someone, a partner who does. I really am a strong believer in partnerships. I'm not saying it's the only way to do things, but you have someone to bat ideas off. My first partnership was a total disaster. It ended up in court. I didn't stop. I still have partners to date. So just getting like-minded people as well was a real problem. Getting people who will understand where you're coming from without, I say it as it is, and most people will think it rude, but I'm just speaking my mind. I probably don't have the vocabulary. Like I said, I'm not an English teacher. I do numbers. But trying to not please everybody was also a big thing for me. That was, it could have brought me down really badly. So it's mostly ego that would have been my biggest obstacle. Overcame that with policy. There's nothing you can do without policy. Then secondly, playing this game of entrepreneurship is a very difficult game in a country where everybody knows that they know. But having your niche, for example, in my school, we do special needs as well. So I know that in my school, we teach individually. There are very many schools out there, very many lovely, lovely schools. But I had to find what it is that makes me different. And that was very difficult. Got there, but that was very difficult. And then financing. Nobody really finances a school unless, they do now, but when I was beginning, nobody really finances schools because they don't have collateral. So financing was also an issue. Those are some of the challenges I faced. And people believing in you. That was a major challenge.
Thank you so much, Winnie. Let me just read some few comments and then some questions because of the time. From Miss Deborah H.M. Wanyange Girls. Thank you, Winnie, for sharing your great vision. As your OG in high school, I am proud of what you're doing. As a head teacher of a public school in Uganda, I've learned a lot from your insights. Indeed, following policy helps everyone to remain focused, excuse me, on their task and removes unnecessary stress. Miss Deborah, thank you for that comment. And then from Pamela, thank you, Winnie, very insightful presentation. God bless you. People are appreciating Winnie for sharing with us that insightful session. And then I'm taking these two questions from Mary. Many times rules are on paper. How do you ensure that they work? Just share a brief strategy. And then one more question from Margaret. How easy is it for a child from an international school to join a local university in Uganda? Miss Winnie?
I'll start with the last one. We have children that have graduated. I have a doctor who has graduated from Bara University. It's very easy. Ministry of Education just translates and equates, and the children are taken into universities here. So yes, I have quite a number, including my own children. 3 of them did actually go to university. I only have one who went abroad, and all of them actually did do international education. So that's pretty easy. If the institution is registered, that's the other thing. You have to have a body that supports you. Rules on paper. Like everything else, if you say you're a Christian and you don't read your Bible, you will not understand what the Bible says about you. If you say it has to be practiced, you have to practice what you preach. I'm now going into musical lyrics, but anyway. If the rules on paper do not work, then they're up for revision, but they must work. Some of the rules are not comfortable, especially for us. I'll give you an example. My younger brother, I know we called a family meeting. He wanted a space for his child in the school, and the child was put on the waiting list. And it felt really bad. That child, by the way, is named after my father, George Patrick Bagaya. He's in school now, but he had to wait on that waiting list for a good 6 years. And we were not happy people. But then, if the person above my brother's child discovers that I've given that space to my brother instead of that person who was ready to receive the space, how does that make me look? Yes, I look terrible to my brother, but you see, it's not me. I'm covered by those rules. So you have to make sure those rules on paper actually are followed. Follow them to the T as closely as you possibly can. To date, we have a laugh about it because they called me home and had a whole family meeting of, how dare you? This is your brother. This is your nephew. I said, let's take this meeting to school. Otherwise, if we're home, let's talk about the family. That was a really difficult one for me. And I also hid behind my partners. You see, I don't make these rules alone. I make them with people. So take them off the paper and put them into practice. I hope I've answered that one.
Thank you so much, Miss Winnie, for responding to all the questions. Friends on call, we've come to the end of our QA questions, but if you have more questions, please, you can send. We shall share with Winnie and she responds to them. And also, we are going to share a recording. I've seen some few people wanting the recording, but we are going to share them shortly after this. Thank you so much, Miss Winnie, again, for taking your time to be with us this morning. And friends on the call, we appreciate you. Every Thursday, you're here with us, you log in and be with us. God bless you. We don't take that for granted. Thank you so much all. And back to Dr. Basalira. Bye.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sarah Mirembe, for guiding us through Q&A. And thank you once again, our main presenter, Ms. Winnie Bagonza, for responding to the questions asked and also further interacting with the participants who have logged on this morning. We appreciate you. Thank you very much, Ms. Winnie. We couldn't have got another person to handle this area of how playing by the rules makes you unbeatable, because you've really indicated the importance and guided us on how best to work with policy. I like when you said that get them off the paper and apply them. And also the issue that you are protected by policy. You are protected by policy because the policy is made in a team, not by individual. We appreciate, thank you. You've guided us so well. And I know many of us here have picked lessons on how best we can use policy to be able to progress and succeed in business, because we've seen the way you've worked with policy and the way you've been able to succeed. We'd like to appreciate you once again, Ms. Winnie Bagonza, for finding time in your business schedule to come and talk to us. Hopefully we shall get another time for you to come back and discuss more other things with us. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me also to appreciate everybody who has logged on this morning. Thank you very much. I know we've picked a lot, and policy will help us, and working by the rules will help us to progress in all the businesses that we are managing. I would like also take this opportunity to appreciate the team at the MUBS Entrepreneurship Innovation and Incubation Centre, led by Dr. Diana Ntamu. Thank you very much for always working hard behind the scenes to be able to have this run. Thank you for bringing such people who can come and interact with us. We appreciate everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for logging on. On the other hand, I would like to appreciate Mr. Ogut Philemon, the sign language interpreter, for enabling us be able to do this to our clients. Thank you very much. I would like to wish you a blessed Thursday. And I would like to remind you that remember to log on again next Thursday, same time. I would like to appreciate everybody and wish you a blessed Thursday. Since it is top of the hour, I will end it here. Bye-bye for now. Blessed Thursday.
Right.
You gotta get up. You gotta get up and make a move. 'Cause the world will never see you until you do. No, they don't really care what you're going through. So you gotta show them, baby. gotta show them the real you. You gotta give them what you've got. No, don't let them see what you're not, 'cause you are strong. You are wise. You are worth beyond 1,000 reasons why. And you can't be perfect, baby, 'cause nobody's perfect, darling. But no, 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 there's nobody in the world like you. What do you do when you can't let go? What do you say when you just don't know how you feel? And you know nobody knows how you feel, 'cause everybody's got their own damn problem. So everybody's trying to find their way, and day by day is a struggle. In this world, you know you have to hustle. Just know that you're not alone. You don't always have to be strong all by yourself. I said it's okay to ask for help. Now listen, people will find you, but they don't define you. And you will find people who help redesign you. People will find you, but they don't define you. And you will find people who help redesign you. You are a work of art. Bet you didn't think you'd come this far. Now here you are. Baby, you are strong. You are wise. You are worth beyond 1,000 reasons why. And you can't be perfect, baby, 'cause nobody's perfect, darling. But no, 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 there's nobody in the world like you.